Welcome back, Dota 2 fans. This tournament moving about as slowly as the globe does on the waiting screen, but nonetheless, Game 2. Bronzy MRP here to chronicle the action for you. Luccini taking Game 1 in one team fight, basically. Well, but they did seem to have a good foothold on the game throughout the early stages into about that 30-minute mark. And yeah, sometimes you lose a team fight to Luna and they take your base. Finally, though, into the Game 2 here. VRFG looking to square things up, take it to a Game 3 decider. Luccini looking to finish them off. Loser, though, there is some solace for them to be found as they will drop down to the lower bracket in this double limb.
I mean, think about the last game. The game wasn't going to get any easier for them if they let it continue. So I think Luccini made a really good decision to try to just end the game there. And even if they didn't, I think taking out the tier 4s, it would have put them in a really good position.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about Luna is she farms really fast, and in the early game, she's actually one of the few carries that can actually team fight. And so if the game went any longer and the Earths and the TA started picking up some pretty sick items like Nullifier, Abyssals, Bloodthorns, then I think she would have had a lot of issues, because there's the Puck and the Legion Commander aren't exactly heroes that can help save her, and they also can't help have the same impact in team fights if she gets eliminated at the start of team fights.
Not the greatest siege units as well, the Puck and the Legion. So Luna obviously excels in that front. Bans look nearly identical. And this one, Luccini going to pick up the Ancient Apparition for Shadow, presumably once again, who did land some very key Ice Blast throughout the game in Game 1.
Yeah, these bans are pretty much identical. And I think Luccini have this AA hero figured out. You just throw 3 heroes at the enemy, and then you put on the Chilling Touch, and they're pretty much dead all the time, right? That's super important, because you saw they couldn't really zone the Nyx completely from EXP, but they put him in a position where he couldn't mess with the Luna, and that was super important because they set up the Luna's lane, and I think that Luna ended up being the hero that really led Luccini to victory.
Mm-hmm.
Bane's also
definitely helped to take those structures out.
Bane's also quite a good lane enforcer, so
I
think VRFG going with a different approach this game. Last time they opened with the Wyvern first.
Yeah, definitely a little bit more aggressive in nature. They had the Wyvern Earth Spirit pick up last game. Bane kind of similar to the Earth Spirit, but as you mentioned, can just kind of sit in lane solo and look to trade with the enemy offlaner. Very effective at doing that with the Brain Sap, high base damage as well. Level 15, you do get the Enfeeble talent. Not necessarily all that useful in lane. Still, though, VRFG mulling over their second pick here.
I mean, Bane's has a lot higher uptime than Wyvern in laning. So Wyvern's really good at looking for kills. Bane's sort of a lane enforcer that's always good with that level 1 Brain Sap, level 1 Nightmare. And so, looks like VRFG, they're kind of switching gears here. Instead of the Earth Spirit Wyvern combo, they have the Bane Slardar. So, not exactly more aggressive, but I'd say more effective at looking for kills.
Yeah, fairly easy setup into the Slithering Crush with the Nightmare. Also, just in general, the sprint for the Slardar, allowing him to enter the engagements and disengage rather cleanly. Bane Nightmare cast range early on is rather gimp. There's a bit of a switch up here. Kunkka going to provide, again, a lot of magic damage to Luccini's side from the support role, much as the AA does. A little bit of counter initiation, a little bit of extra punishment. They already have kind of the Icy Vortex, the Ice Blast, the Cold Feet, Torrent, Boat as well. Very good against the defensive Nightmare. So defensive Nightmare in this one, not slated to seem all that effective. We'll see how it pans out.
You can kind of see that Luccini's got a nice thought process going on with their support duo. I mean, last time they picked the Night Stalker after they saw the Nyx as the third pick from VRFG, but this game they picked the Kunkka, and the Kunkka's good against both the Bane and the Slardar because the Kunkka has 3 ways to stop the Fiend's Grip, and also Kunkka's one of the few heroes that actually catches Slardar now that Slardar moves at supersonic speeds.
Yes, but only a level 4 sprint, right?
Yeah. 4 in the water.
I mean, either way, he's going to be moving faster than most heroes on the map, even with the Icy Vortex bonus.
There needs to be heroes that create water for Slardar to run through. Like Ravage.
Slide along the ice path, I suppose. Yeah, there you go. Aghanim's Gush, right? That should work.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, the Gush followed up by the super speedy Slardar running at you. Move slows don't slow Slardar. I believe Slardar is fixed to 700 move speed, which is kind of broken if you think about it, because then if you don't have a stun, you can't actually catch him.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other weird thing, fun fact, is Razor's passive purges off sprint for some reason. And I don't know if that's intended.
Yeah, you'd figure Razor's already pretty good against Slardar. But hey, why not?
VRFG, they ban Dusa. Dusa's like a... I can't say she's like a cheesy hero, but like when it's a good Dusa game, it's a really good Dusa game. And neither of VRFG's supports right now are really well configured against Dusa. What you need against her is like Mana Burn's an obvious one, but just stuff that prevents her from casting her ult, or stuff that prevents her from moving for long periods of time. And yes, Slardar Stun's good. Yes, Grip's good, but Grip's not exactly the most high percentage spell to get off against her.
Mm-hmm. Often when you're running a Medusa, she is the focal point of your lineup as well, so it feels unlikely that you're just going to let a Grip cast for full duration on your perhaps most important hero. Agree with you there as far as reliability goes. Mirana going to be the pickup for VRFG. We saw the kind of slight agility nerfs recently, but still can output a lot of physical damage, especially with the Corrosive Haze on her side. Also rather mobile, in addition to the Slardar, and the Bane, who just generally is pretty quick as far as movement speed goes.
Yep. Was it you or someone else I was casting with that kept being on the hype train of the Bane Mirana, Shadow Demon Mirana? Every time, I think it was B-Cop, every time he saw a Bane or Shadow Demon, he's like, oh, they're going to pick Mirana. And obviously they do because it's a good combo, but...
I'm not... actually, this is nothing to do with B-Cop, but I actually used to call that combo the Dota for Dummies combo. Good old Bane Mirana.
Yeah, it's good.
Certainly easy to land, rather easy to land. A lot of counter initiation now on the Luccini side. Sven pickup here comes out, of course. Mirana Diffusal Blade, not nearly as good as at taking out Sven anymore. I mean, Diffusal Blade in general. Warcry, pretty damn good spell when it's almost impossible to purge.
I mean, the opposite of the Bane Mirana has to be the Naga Shadow Fiend, the sleep into the ulti. The Naga has to like release the sleep at like the perfect time, because there's actually an animation for releasing the sleep.
Yes, I've been my plans have been thwarted many a times by that animation. I wanted to talk to you about this actually prior to this cast, but I don't want to get too tangential here. But Naga just seems not to be a hero right now in Dota 2, which is nice. It's nice to get a break from her, but I haven't seen it work. I haven't seen
She's
it
not
be
a carry
effectual.
anymore. She's too slow to be carry, right? You don't want your carry. When Naga was successful was during a patch when she could actually get away
Draw
with
the game out, yeah.
And just like farming in lane, right? Like it was a time where offlaners were screwed no matter what. Bounty runes didn't exist, shrines didn't exist, and siege creeps didn't like box your tower to death.
Mm-hmm.
And now that all of these things are in place, bounty runes make the game a little bit make your supports have to run around a little bit more, so they can't just sit in lane and pull and then zone the offlaner. The shrines make it so teams are fighting all the time, and then the fact that you can use siege creeps as like an actual I guess way to kill towers in a hurry, then
right.
If you were to pick a carry Naga, then you would just have all of your towers run over. But I do think she's still good as a support.
I've seen a lot of different position 4s recently. I don't know. Haven't seen much of the Naga, but certainly does have the tools. Can kind of trade early on. Has the piercing spell immunity disable. 2 of them, in fact, I suppose.
So it's very, very, very important for Luccini this game that they keep this tight ender in check. because if he gets out of control, then he can actually knock the Sven out of lane. So Sven's a hero that wants to stay in the lane until he's about level 6 or 7, and preferably after that. When you get like Tread's Mask of Madness, then your jungle speed actually hits a rate where you're comfortable not being in lane. But if the Tidehunter gets level 5 before the Sven gets to the point where he's able to jungle, then I think that the Sven's farm is going to be shut down sufficiently enough that VRFG can actually take a lot of objectives, especially because they have like a super fast-paced lineup. Like the Morana, Slardar, Bane, these are 3 heroes that are really good in the early mid game, and you have Tidehunter to sort of be this team fight vehicle for them.
Okay, so the Monkey King pickup gonna round out the lineup for Luccini. You talked about dealing with the Tidehunter, but to some extent, does this indicate to you that they're looking to run an aggressive tri-lane here?
I think the important part is it gives them the option. And it also gives them an offlaner that provides a little bit of extra stun, a little bit of extra... I don't want to call it initiation, but like another option to get the team fight started.
Very long range disable, if you want to call it initiation, but another thing that can potentially cancel the grip, in that boundless strike from very far away. If they end up putting him one-on-one against Tide, I mean, sure, Tide will farm, but Monkey King should do just fine in that lane as well. So yeah, I guess you kind of touched upon it. It's versatility that it offers them. And if there was any hero to go aggressive tri-lane against, I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, but VRFG gonna round their lineup out with the QWERTY Slark.
That can't be good. I mean, Luccini's got like one of the best, not one of the best, but like quite a strong tri-lane. You got the Stormhammer into Torrent into Chilling Touch, like 3 heroes auto-attacking, and then VRFG, they have to be really careful with the Slardar positioning, because the Slardar is the only one that really prevents Luccini's aggression. So I wouldn't be surprised if they go for an aggro try. At the same time, when you aggro try with the Sven, it can feel really bad, because Sven's sort of like a hero that has really important timings. Like you wouldn't typically aggro an anti-mage. It just feels off. Like it always feels like you're not getting as much farm as you should be, because you're trying to actively fight the enemy team. But it's quite a good option for them, especially because Slark's also a timing hero. It's really up to Luccini. I think even if they don't, then the Monkey King's going to get plenty out of his lane. And the Sven Kunkka Ancient Apparition are actually more than capable of killing this Tidehunter.
You think the Monkey King is fairly resilient to the tri-lane of VRFG?
I mean, he just jumps in the trees, and VRFG can't really.
They can deny. Excellent point, Franz. Excellent point.
You know what is actually busted that I figured out? Pangolier, his swashbuckle, you can actually go into trees with it. Like you can, and it doesn't break the trees.
Break the trees, right? Fair point.
So if people are chasing you as an offlaner, you just jump into the trees. Broken hero.
Yeah, if he wasn't already. I mean, people say that though, and people are like, "See, I told you he was broken from the beginning." But the 7.07 buffs to Pangolier were fairly significant. But
they were.
Admittedly, he has looked fairly strong since then.
I bet that someone at Valve looked at the win rate, and the win rate was like atrocious. It was like 36%, which was like pretty rock bottom. But he's not an easy hero to play, especially when like people were telling people to buy like arcane boots on him, which I will tell you is incorrect.
Staunchly so. Runs against the arcane boots, Pangolier. Oh, don't apologize. We're learning things each time I cast with you. Smoke movement from VRFG doesn't seem like it'll bear fruit, at least initially, as Luccini essentially mirroring the movements, but not under the cover of smoke. And they'll get an interesting ward here in the mid lane. Perhaps allow them to facilitate some roam from the Kunkka.
It looks like they're aggro try, right? I don't know if you mentioned that. I like zoned out for a second, but also you notice mids have to like block they have to be present to block their lane, because
yes,
you
the
can't
TP change.
to the You can't do that lane anymore.
I just talked about that with you. It was probably maybe a week ago how much I enjoyed the fact that they can make these kind of early pressures for first bloods and stealing bounty runes and then still be able to TP back and block the wave. But Ice Frog said no more fun. Put that away. Still though, supports can kind of help out on that front. Actually, SNK on the Sven taking towards the mid lane here early on. But we'll see how this ends up working out. It's for now going to be against the Mirana. And Sven rather resilient, at least early on. But, you know, with a Bane nearby, this could be, as you mentioned, a little bit detrimental to this Sven's game going forward. Nice toggle off on the Nightmare by Shadow. And now the Storm will going to fly out. Chilling touches there as well. Torrent will land onto 2, in fact. Crush, though, going to keep them at bay. And SNK actually going to cop an arrow to the face. Big right clicks coming through as well. He's in trouble. He'll be the one to drop first blood. And now another Crush available onto the Ancient Apparition. This could be disaster in the mid lane for Luccini. They'll drop. And now a Nightmare onto the Kunkka will keep him from pressing. 2 kills in the mid lane for VRFG as they begin this one off. Meanwhile, it's a Slark solo 1v1 against the Monkey King top lane.
Yeah, it was a really nice counterplay from VRFG. I mean, the starter stun's so important for them because there's nothing stopping for Luccini from doing the Stormbolt Torrent. So it's really important that the starter got his stun off there. So, oh, top lane.
Yeah, QWERTY taking a couple Jingu Mastery stacks. Torrent just going to be stop casted by Jericho. And QWERTY did go for the kind of defensive early point in Pounce. Usually we see level 1 Essence Shift, but he actually skilled it first. Now that he's level 2, though, rather standard.
So it's hard to say what Luccini should do with their lanes right now because they're kind of already committed. They've already committed a few of their TPs for the Sven and the AA, I think, to get back to lane.
Nightmare into the Bounty Rune steal for Rory. Cheeky little play from the Bane. Slardo rotating up to top lane will get his level 2 here. And yeah, looking a little bit kerfuffled is the Luccini side as far as the lanes go, as you mentioned. So far though, Dire Side's still doing well CS wise.
Here's the odd thing. It's hard to make these kind of... the Sven's not going to have a good time. It's going to get constantly right-clicked.
Top lane, they do have an X available. Oh, Jericho in the cast point for it. And Rory does have the Nightmare. Will drop it on himself still, though. Actually, he throws it out onto the Monkey King as he gets torrented back. And now with the Jingu Mastery stacks, Boundless Strike available. A couple more right clicks needed. Yeah, the 1 is not enough. Bane does not end up dropping. QWERTY trying to steal away some stats from the Monkey King. Gets a couple of right clicks off and will back him out for now. Bane gonna survive in that mid lane. Or top lane, excuse me. Now mid lane, Shadow gets crushed up. A little bit of trading from Zool. And Sven nowhere nearby. With the sprint and the crush, is going to be a kill going the way of the Slardar, more than likely. Arrow flies out, will not connect. Shadow juking. Oh, the right click, though, from the Mirana will finish him off. Still 1 leap available for Destiny, and he'll make it out towards the mid lane. SNK spend some time away from the creeps. Does not net himself a kill. Jericho rotating through, but it's daytime, so they're well aware of this. And again, mid lane troubles for Luccini's side. Oh, they will fire out and get the X off. This is going to be a dead Mirana, and even before she's pulled back, will be brought down.
I wonder if you buy out if the X is still on you. Just an odd question. We'll never know.
We'll test it in a lobby, I'm sure.
I think Luccini's fine with their lanes now, actually. So this one's getting plenty of farm mid. He's got 19 CS, so he's actually ahead of the Mirana, which is actually that surprising because with the Quelling Blade, you do a lot more damage than the Mirana. And then top lane, like this Monkey King's having a field day on these 2 heroes, I think.
Jericho TPing out bottom, and he'll make it away. As mid lane, they throw out the bolt again. There is 1 leap available. She may want to use it so as not to proc the cold feed here, but is quick enough. Yes. Oh, now mid lane, they will hit the crush, and SNK will just watch his Ancient Apparition die. Has the bottle up on the Sven, but didn't quite have the mana for the Stormbolt to counter there.
Here's the important timing for Luccini, right? They're
nice try.
The Monkey King and the Pucker are doing pretty well, but so is the Titan turn away. So at some point, Luccini has to kind of make space for the Sven, because the Sven has to rotate to a different lane. Like Sven's not gonna jungle at this point. Sven has to like find a lane where he can actually hit lane creep, farm lane creeps unobstructed.
Jericho top lane. And Zool trading a little bit. Thinks about the X, but probably doesn't have the kill potential, even if he lands this torrent.
To me, I can't think of a way Luccini can...
Oh, Jericho whiffs on the torrent. Yeah, Crush is going to connect. Jumping down, though, with the Primal Spring. Nightmare going to fly out. Jericho may want to take this off his Monkey King. He's actually just going to leave him there for the time being. Had the jump available, but the Crush is going to be there in time. Now the Chilling Touch rotating through. Torrent going to connect. Cold Feet should be there. The Boundless Strike as well. They'll kill off the Slardar before the MK goes down. Jericho in trouble, though. 6 Essence Shift stacks up on the Slark. Now he'll just turn into the Ancient Apparition, who effectively sacrifices himself for the Ancient Apparition. They will connect with the Cold Feet and the Torrent. No one nearby, though, to punish QWERTY for it. And he'll simply salve up.
I'll take that.
So I think this puck's gonna be the key.
Mid lane. Warcry's gonna be there. Slithering Crush not gonna do all that much damage because of it. Arrow though, he's gonna fly from distance and does connect. Will they have the right clicks to bring him down? Warcry now gonna expire. Double Starfall and the Crush. And it'll be a big kill found on SNK. Luccini need a breather to recollect themselves here. After that Sven drop mid lane, 7-2 in the early game for VRFG. Phase boots puck Franz in the off lane against the Tidehunter.
Yeah, you really need it against the Tide. I think off lane puck needs in general just to help trade hits. Whereas in a mid lane, you're like spamming out the waves. You might have a bottle, or you're like more reliant on, or you have more accessible mana regen, whereas in this lane, basically just on a last hit war with the Tide.
Mm-hmm.
This puck is pretty much the key for Luccini. So what I was thinking is like, you know, the Luccini don't actually fight into the Tidehunter until they have BKBs. It's actually quite difficult for them. They also don't have any spells that prevent Tidehunter from casting Ravage, so like no Doom, no Static Storm.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think their game plan is to dodge the Doom, but force VRFG to move around the map. Like maybe bait out some TPs, or maybe like start some skirmishes on some really odd parts of the map where VRFG will like lose a trade. So I think this Sven really needs like at least 5 minutes to catch up.
Mm-hmm. Still somehow 3rd overall in CS, 4th on net worth. That was just kind of the odd laning configuration has meant that no one really, farming up a storm in this early game. But as you mentioned, generally you see a Sven, 11, 12 minute mark, very high, if not highest on the net worth. His ability to farm. Some good deep vision down from the Radiant side here. Going to facilitate the movement of Zool on the Slardar. He's going to run into Jericho, who just dings his level 4 now. Bane will be nearby as well. They have a 2nd level in the Brain Sap. Torrent actually going to fly, not going to connect. Boundless Strike on the west side hits onto the Bane, but the Monkey King going to think better of jumping into that engagement, and Jericho will drown. Sven going to pop his first God Strength of the game, work on a single Ancient stack, and TP down to the bot lane as Gian has the coil ready. Very tanky target in the Tidehunter. Has the Soul Ring and a couple of stick charges, but they may just have enough to bring him down here. He does not get the Anchor Smash off. Well, he does get it onto the puck, not onto the Kunkka. They need a little bit more damage to kill him off. Nightmare will be there in time. Gian is out of mana on the puck, and he's going to backstroke his way to safety. Anchor Smash hitting the puck there, proving to be perhaps enough for the Tidehunter to survive. Even Shadow rotating through is not going to find the Tide. There's a Haste Rune bottom and a Shrine ready for the Radiant side. They do connect with the Torrent, however. Can they get him down now? Cold Feet is going to be there. Pull him back. He activates the Shrine, but not into a disable, and he will be healed up. Now, jumping forward is the Slardar. Zool going to find Jericho here with a Crush and Anchor Smash.
Carrion eating cuttlefish dies like a dog.
Just a failed rotation from Luccini. I think obviously they needed one extra hero up top
lane. Yeah, QWERTY. It's already got tons of the stacks in the Essence Shift. Finally, Jingu Mastery is there for the Monkey King, which will keep him alive And let him kill though. Gian Coil back up here, bottom lane, waiting for the bounty route. Well, it's soon to be 9 minutes, so I'm not sure what he's waiting for exactly. But Slardar hanging around. Gian nearby has a coil available. Maybe thinking this could be fake here. Throws out the right click and Sprint will get the Slardar out.
I think he was just scouting and seeing if Luccini has been stacking that ancient camp. Slug's going to be a big problem. He's top net worth right now, and he's actually in a position to split push right now. I mean, Luccini don't really want to split their resources to come top. It's pretty much going to be just the Monkey King top. And in the bottom lane, you know...
Lark is level 8 at this point.
Like, you see the puck hasn't really been super aggressive. In fact, the puck hasn't left his lane at all. He wants to just get as much out of this lane because, you know, two of their heroes... The weird thing about Luccini's lineup is two of their heroes don't want to do anything right now. Like, the Monkey King feels like he's behind, and the Sven... well, Svens don't really want to fight until they have at least the Blink Dagger, so... Probably won't see Luccini make any big moves anytime soon, especially when the enemy team has a Tide Hunter.
Yeah, SNK gonna go for the Mask of Madness first, even. Not all that atypical, but here 10 minutes in, just picking up the quarterstaff now. They have stacked at least 4 stacks here, these Ancients, and Coil will break, and they need a jaunt forward into the Crush, though. Gian did not have enough mana for a Waning Rift. He's going to get Nightmared up, in fact. 3 seconds until the next Crush is available, and Ravage even going to be used to secure this puck kill, and well worth it, considering how well Gian is doing. The most valuable Dire hero on the map is going to be taken out. First Ravage of the game used here, 10.5 minutes in, and now top lane. Arrow going to fly, not going to connect onto the Monkey King, but the double damage with the Starfall may just be enough to kill him off. He's going to stick up, but a pounce forward, pounce and a leap, in fact, will see to his death. And early game is just coming up all VRFG as bottom lane, even Rory scouting here, trying to at least block up the stack. Will Nightmare one of the creeps. He's going to get X for it, however. Torrent will fly. Jericho taking a lot of damage from the creeps. He may just die to a Brain Sap here, but no, they'll take out the Bane beforehand. Now rotating in is the Tide. There's no Ravage available, though, and Luccini are well aware of that, as they'll turn towards the Tide, and he will backstroke his way up the stairs. Torrent to fly. Connects on the Tide Hunter. Now Gian going to blink forward. Gets the Waning Rift off. They have the Coil and the Orb as well. X is going to be there. Jericho. 3 seconds until he has a Toyline available. And now they get the Cold Feet off. Coil will be there. And it will proc. They should have the Orb as well. Torrent. Nicely executed kill on the Tide Hunter. Took them a while, but they do end up finally bringing him down. And Jericho will be the one to walk away with the bounty.
It was a really nice kill for them. I have to say, like, the last two failed kill attempts on the Tide actually hurt Luccini a lot. Because I think, you know, those were like the only opportunities Luccini had to get stuff done on the map, because the Moran and the Slark are like infinitely more difficult to kill, especially because Luccini don't have ultimates on their supports yet.
Invisibility.
Working on the Mask of Madness, relatively close is the Sven, but he's playing rather scared in this mid lane, as he should. As he walks up the hill, going to be right into a Nightmare. Arrow should come from the south side, and it does. Crush is going to be there. Secures the arrow, connecting, and it should be a dead Sven. Rotations are coming in from the north and the east. Stormbolt will actually connect onto 2, and they will be able to get the Warcraft, but the Crush connects on 2. Torrent does as well, though, and now they're rotating in. Bolt gonna fly. They'll get both kills as the Coil snaps. Slardar in trouble now as well. He's gonna drop down some vision to try and keep himself alive. Orb gonna be there. It will connect. Couple more right clicks. The jaunt forward, and nice kill from Gian as double kill goes the way of the puck. The Sven finally dropping in that mid lane, but it costs 3 heroes for VRFG side. Slark, meanwhile, does get a bit of damage done on the tier 1 top lane. But Luccini going to kind of drag the kill score at least back in their favor. Only a 1k lead now for the Radiant squad. Jump forward, bot lane. They'll get the X off onto the Tide. Cold Feet is going to be there as well. Torrent and a fly forward. Kraken Shell will purge it all off, though. Nightmare is there for the Kunkka. He's in trouble and gonna get crushed up, and it looks like they will just sacrifice him for the time being. Well, jump forward. Waning Rift hits 3, but the puck right into the arrow. Ice Blast will fly through and connects on a few, but they have no more follow-up for this fight. Jericho first forced to turn in horror as he watches his teammates fall. He was corrosive hazed up, so they should have seen him X himself before TPing the base. He'll return to this bottom lane once again, trying to stifle this push coming out from the Radiant side, but a disastrous blink forward there for the puck right into the arrow from Destiny.
The weird thing for Luccini is like 2 of their heroes don't want to fight right now.
X is going to go out onto Red Moon. Torrent will follow. Moonlight Shadow is there as well. Ice Blast flying through. He's not going to be able to dodge the Ice Blast, but it does seem like the bolt may have not hit him. Now Jian jumping forward. He's going to jaunt back to safety. Moonlight Shadow. Sentry is only to the north there, and the grip is going to find the Kunkka. Boundless Strike connects through 2 and does cancel the Bane grip. Tidehunter proving far too tanky, though. AA in trouble, going to stick up, but still ends up going down. Coil onto 3. Now the Primal string forward, and the Sven has finally joined the fray. Stormbolt will connect onto 2 with the cleave. They take out 1. Want more, though. And the leap away from the Mirana, keeping her safe. Now the Slark going to join the fray. SNK needs to think about this one. Trying to dodge away from the pounce, but he can't do it. Boundless Strike connects onto the Slardar. Up into the trees goes the Monkey King. He will be able to get the Slardar, but his Sven drops in the meantime, and now he's in trouble as well. Pounce finishes him off. And a killing spree for Querty as he finally joins the fray. And overall, Luccini losing a lot in that bottom lane. John, the only one to survive. Arrow going to fly out towards the rune. Puck, though, still surviving here. Jericho up on the high ground. Luccini do end up losing their tower as well off the back of all of that. And Ravage up in 40 seconds. So, like you said, kind of reluctant to fight at this point, but they finally do bring all their units, and still it was rather difficult in the bottom lane. Mid lane, Ice Blast will connect, and John going to finish it up with his complement of spells. The Bane will end up dropping here. Jericho hanging around mid lane, needs to be a little bit careful here as he's going to get gushed up. Arrow going to fly, does not connect onto the MK, and now maybe this is exactly the opportunity they need to go in. They'll jump, finish off the Mirana, and with those 2 key spells missing, still though, hanging around. Ravage available in 7 seconds. Wukong's command has been deployed here. And Red Moon feeling more than tanky enough in the mid lane. Jingu Mastery is there. A couple of right clicks coming through, but the Anchor Smash, Demari not doing all that much on the Monkey King because of it. Tidehunter still hanging around. MK finishes off the wave with his Boundless Strike. John bottom lane.
And the big thing is like Luccini's lineup, or sorry, VRFG's lineup is way better configured for these early game engagements than Luccini. I think Luccini's timing is definitely that blink on Sven and probably a blink BKB. And the other odd thing is VRFG, the Slark opened with a goddamn Battle Fury.
more than warranted is the GD bomb in that one. So he's going to continue to scale, not even selling out on the kind of typical Slark build. Cold Feet goes out mid lane. X back into the Torrent and the Primal Spling. Kraken Shell going to purge that off. Bolt coming through, not going to connect onto the Tidehunter. And the rest of his unit up on top of the hill as they took out SNK in the meantime on the Sven. And now Shadow seems to be pincered in. Jump forward, though. Coil will find the Bane, and orbing through. He gets the Nightmare off. Ravage will be there. Can they kill off the Bane? No, they'll get the Monkey King instead. Brain Sap will keep him alive. Jian in trouble. And with the Waning Rift, he'll only delay his death. 3 heroes, all 3 cores, in fact, from Luccini going down. They're going to lose their mid lane tier 1 and perhaps some of the health of that tier 2 as well. As VRGF feeling very confident at this juncture in the game.
You just call it VRGF?
Ah, whatever they are. God damn it.
Oh, that's a huge ancient stack for the
start
Battle
saying
Fury
the Radiant side.
Look at that Battle Fury in action.
Yeah, that's we can just pack it in here for Luccini's side. I mean, that is a massive blow to their potential recovery plan, especially for the Sven, who, you know, currently sitting overall 6th on the net worth chart. Has opted to go back for the Yasha. He bought out a couple times before dying as well, so not even going to have that all-important initiation tool in the Blink Dagger.
Opted to go back for the Yasha. Look at them trying to kill this Tide. This Tide can't die.
We'll connect with the boat. Torrent will not hit, and does not even tickle.
No damage.
Pipe expended, though. Pipe secured.
I mean, the alternative is like that very, very first gank. Oh, up top.
He King in trouble, and Slardar nearby. Not even necessary though. Is QWERTY gonna finish him off? Battle Fury Slark, guys, build it in your pubs. What do you know?
Don't build it. Here's the alternative. So the Tidehunter, if he died on that very first gang that Luccini went on him with the puck and Kunkka, then he wouldn't have gotten his hood. Then on the second potential gang, he would have died again. Then Luccini actually would have had that bottom tier 1, which would have allowed the puck to continue pressuring the map, which would have opened up some space for the Sven. But instead it's VRFG that have been constantly in control of this game.
Top lane Slark is going to get X'd up. Sentry will be there, and Stormbolt going to fly out. Torrent might actually even just connect on 2 because of it, or they'll just get the Slardar here. God Strength going to pop, and QWERTY going to back out. Moonlight Shadow going to be deployed. So they do use the boat. They'll get the Slark, not the largest cooldown. But certainly, or get the Slardar, excuse me. Certainly wanted the Slark in that one. Jericho, he's going to get scouted out as he drops the X and throws the Torrent out, and it won't actually land. Jericho now in trouble. Pounced up, tethered up, and a couple more right clicks with the medallion. He's actually making it away, forces the leap out from the Mirana. Ice Blast from the east is going to connect onto the Slark, who's going to make his way out. And meanwhile, down south, the puck gripped up and torn down. And 24-13 VRFG are rolling in it. God's Strength expended as well. Really no reason for them to not to continue to press. Tide going to cut the wave up, and Destiny and Rory going to get to work on this tower.
Yeah, imagine VRFG, they're going to take this top tier 2, they're going to take the mid tier 2, and then posture themselves in the Roche area and try to end the game off of the first Aegis.
Gush mid lane, and the Anchor Smash going to catch SNK. Medallion was there from the Tide as well, and now they'll try and throw all their spells at him in order not to kill him. They'll get the Anchor Smash off. Boundless Strike will be there. Ice Blast is there as well. Crush connects onto 3. Arrow going to fly through and smokes the Monkey King. Now Tide actually in trouble, though, and he will end up shattering. So, persistence. Well, I mean, speaking of which, the Slark going to chase down the Sven on the back end of that engagement. They finally kill off the Tide, but their moment of glory is extremely short-lived.
Took 5 heroes, 2 ultimates, and they still lose the Sven. Also, the Sven finishes Yasha, so
there you go. And is going for the Sanj as well. So all of the dying he's been doing has forced him to go for the kind of easier build-up than the straight-up 2K Blink Dagger. Ice Blast will connect onto QWERTY bottom lane. At this point, a level 1 Ice Blast, so really not the scariest proposition.
VRFG are pretty much on track to win as long as they don't lose any immediate fights, whereas I think Luccini, they have to continue going for these pick offs.
Well, we'll connect onto QWERTY, but yeah, Jericho, he's not long for this world. The Ancient Apparition, they're just kind of leaving him as they take out the Kunkka, leaving him to watch, and they'll take out the second tier 2 in about as many minutes. Mid lane, the last tier 2 still standing, but map control is entirely in the favor of the Radiant squad. Now pounce up bottom lane, Warcry from SNK, but the Essence Shift stocks begin to mount here, 20 and counting for QWERTY, and now the grip onto the puck, maybe even the more important hero to bring down here, just 4 swipes from the Slark. And the GG call prompted there from that kill. As VRFG, I mean, you said it, Franz, they just had no way to deal with this Tidehunter, and their laning configuration even amplified that problem, coming out of the draft. So, really good initial recognition from VFRG as far as the lanes go. Seemed to pan out very well for them.
Yeah. I mean, the VRFG's early game was just way, way better, and so had the better laning configuration. But also, I think Luccini kind of kept throwing their heroes at the Tide, and it didn't work. I mean, I think those, like, that 5-minute period where they failed like 3 kills on the Tidehunter really sealed the game for them, because, well, not only were they wasting their time, but VRFG were just continuing to get ahead on the puck, or on the Baron and the Slark during that time.
Spent very little time over in the top lane, did the 2 supports in the AA and the Kunkka. for their Monkey King, and perhaps more importantly to pressure that Slark. So just really in the mid-bottom area of the map, and as you mentioned, a few failed attempts there, certainly rearing their ugly head going forward. But VRFG, they're going to have an extra life here as they make it to the third and deciding game. Luccini VRFG looking to move on to face off against T-Show in this double elimination bracket. Loser will drop down and face Mad Kings. MRP and Franz here, guys. Game 3 hopefully coming up shortly. Breaks have been a little bit lengthy in this series today, but we'll be back with Game 3 nonetheless as soon as we can. Stick around, guys, on twitch.tv here /Beyond the Summit.